But in 1188 there was a reference to Henry.
In 1188 there's a reference to Henry,
son of Aylwin.
Son of Aylwin.
De Londonstone.
De Londonstone.
Subsequently Lord Mayor of London.
Subsequently Lord Mayor of London.
That's it.
That's it.
So I don't know if anybody here's heard of Jack Cade, but he was one of the people stream of people who led a revolt and came to London, and he did actually, with his sword, strike a stone with his sword, which was it was considered to help support his claim for the throne of England. And if you're familiar with the story of Excalibur, the extracting the sword from the stone, it was related to that kind of mythology, that you do this kind of sword magic with the stone and you're not king. So he was also claiming descent from Mortimer. That was part of his...
Sorry.
Jack Cade. Jack Cade. But perhaps if we really want to change society, we don't have to worry about finding someone who wants to be a new king, but actually, you know, or a magic star.
We all want to be king.
I want to be king. I want to be queen.
So anyway, so this is the London Stone. Right.
What about the 140,000 people who died of Vioxx because it wasn't tested properly? Go and tell them!
We're here today because the New York Stock Exchange is floating the shares of Hunting to Life Sciences. Now the London Stock Exchange refused to do this. That's why Hunting to Life Sciences actually trade their shares in the United States of America. Now this is a company that's been exposed 6 separate times with video footage showing animals such as beagles, cats and monkeys being butchered for things like glue, paint, oven cleaner, artificial sweeteners, pesticides, herbicides and oils. And this all happens in Hunting to Life Sciences. They are Europe's biggest animal testing laboratory, and they're even Europe's largest animal testing laboratory, and they kill 180,000 animals every single year. There's not many contract animal testing labs that actually test on monkeys, cats, dogs, and all the other animals as well. Even horses, pigs and sheep are in Hunting to Life Sciences being tested on. Now this laboratory has been exposed on film. The person who was actually employed to teach other workers how to treat animals was actually caught on film punching a beagle puppy in the face who was no more than a couple of months of age, just because when he tries to take blood samples from this animal, these veins were not developed well enough, so he couldn't easily take blood out of his veins. And he got so angry with this little beagle puppy, you could see him on film, grabbing him by the scruff of the neck, shaking him, terrifying him so much. This puppy was weeping, was yelping, just like a human baby would if it was in the same situation, trying to get away. But beagle dogs, by their very nature, are not aggressive animals. That's why you never see Rottweilers or Pit Bull Terriers being tested on in laboratories. They only use the weaker animals that are not going to be fighting back and injuring the people that are causing them so much suffering. That's the only reason they use beagles. They're not genetically similar to humans. And we're here today because the New York Stock Exchange is the only exchange on the planet that is still willing to let this company trade their shares.
So I'm trying to speak up a bit because I know some people at the back can't hear. So I'm kind of upping the volume a little bit, so getting used to it. I imagine that some of you people here were around in this area back on June the 18th.
Woo! You certainly were.
Right. And you might be aware that what was going on inside this building. Now, I find it really bizarre when I listen on I don't watch TV. I've given up on TV, but I do listen to the radio. And I turn on listen to the radio and there's all these people going, oh, this financial collapse. Nobody said it was going to happen. Nobody knew it was going to happen. When, I don't know how many thousand demonstrators there were here on June the 18th, who knew exactly this was what was going, who went in to the futures market up the stairs, right? And what did they do? Did they say, oh, thank you for coming and explaining the catastrophe that is just around the corner, it's going to happen in a few years' time? No, they did not. What they did, they said, oh, you can't come in here, oh, call the police, oh, do all this, do all that, right? So they are still lying when they say nobody knew it was going to happen. Thousands of people knew it was going to happen, and thousands of people took the trouble to come here, took the trouble to go to the Bank of England, took the trouble to go to the Stock Exchange, took the trouble to go throughout the whole of the City of London and explain to anyone who listened that this whole system that they had was heading for disaster, and they didn't want to listen, and the people on the radio still don't want to listen. So, hey! Anybody else want to say
Can I just say something?
I reckon it's 8 generations of Marxists have known about this as well. Yeah.
Okay, ever since Lehman Brothers collapsed, 6 weeks ago, I found it very difficult to stop myself laughing. And what we did, when was it? 2 weeks ago, tonight's full moon, like the last dark moon, Halloween, a lot of us that was involved in the carnival against capitalism, we decided to do something at Canary Wharf. And we was laughing and we were dancing on the grave of capitalism. And what we decided to do, we're not quite sure, but we decided that every dark moon from now on, we're going to do a little bit more to celebrate, to laugh, to dance as capitalism disintegrates. We're going to get a tsunami of redundancies and collapses probably around Easter. There will be enormous resistance. We may have just a few months around the world to save the whole of humanity at the moment on the tipping point of climate change from complete disaster. But on the other hand, there's lots of us, we're brilliantly organised, we've got the internet, we're doing well at the moment. Let's just celebrate and let's overthrow this system as soon as we possibly can. That's it.
Hey.
Well, just to say, are we going down to the bottom? All right, well, if ever you want to walk down to the bottom, which is also the other entrance to the London International Futures Exchange, which we went into on June the 18th, and the most extraordinary images were the top of the escalator, which had been completely trashed, with images of traders, because the police took 40 minutes to get here, because there were so many people in the streets, 8,000 people in the streets, that there were traders in their coloured jackets fighting off anti-capitalists trying to get up into their earrings. Eerie. But if you go a bit further down, you can see 10 days after June the 18th, they actually erected massive medieval barriers in front of that entrance, big blue barriers, to stop it ever happening again. The thing is, it's the 10th anniversary of June the 18th, this June, and I think we should all do something to celebrate because it's even more relevant, as Fabian told us.
What a good idea!
And the other... Yeah, it's completely virtual now. A few years after '99, they actually sacked all the traders who were doing the trading on the floor, and it's completely virtual now. It's completely, you know.
Or in the word of the Sex Pistols, there's no future for you!
It's possible to think, you know, setting right down here.